You are not bad with money. A part of you may spend when it needs relief. Another part may watch every penny because it's afraid that something's going to go wrong. And another part may find it difficult to look at money at all. And the difference between blaming yourself and understanding yourself can begin with just one letter, S. Not one part, parts. Because when I am bad with money becomes a part of you is struggling with money, you create space between who you are and what you do. And that very space lets you get curious instead of critical. So let me show you 3 parts that you may recognize and what each may be trying to protect you from. So the letter is S, not because adding an S to a word magically fixes anything, but because it reminds us that there is more than one part of you in money decisions. You are not an overspender. A part of you overspends. You're not avoidance with money. A part of you wants to look away. And you're not bad with money. It's just that there's a part of you that is struggling to feel safe around money. Now, most of us talk about money as though there's only one version of us, oneself, who is either good with money or bad with money. I'm an overspender. I'm an avoider. I'm hopeless with money. Nothing really gets to the heart of it, because noticing how final those statements can sound, notice that there's no space in there. There's no love or compassion. And when you say, I am, you and your behavior become the same thing. And if you are the problem with money, there is nowhere to stand. There's nothing left to do but feel shame. And so the shift is to move from part to parts, because you're not one fixed being with money. A part of you might overspend. Another part of you may feel frivolous with money. A part of you might not want to look at money at all. And these are all parts. They're plural. That single S, moving from a self to self-made of parts, changes everything with money. Add that S and you stop treating yourself as if you are a problem. Because the moment I am bad with money becomes a part of you, it suggests that you have just allowed yourself like a little bit of human compassion and space. And in that space, this is where things become possible. You become the person who can turn towards the part that's showing up rather than becoming the part itself. And this is why it matters so much. Very often, the behavior that you judge most harshly became or began as an attempt to protect you in some way. It may have come from something that you experienced or something that you witnessed or a belief about money that was simply just passed down to you from generation to generation. And that doesn't make every money decision helpful, right? But it does mean that the behavior might have a reason. A part can also respond to an old experience, even when your circumstances have changed. The numbers might be different now. Your life might be different now, but the part of you that's responding may still be reacting as if the old pattern is happening again. And I'm just going to say that again. So when we have this part of you that is responding, it's responding based on an old experience, something that's happened before, that it has either been a lived experience for yourself or you've witnessed in some way. And so what happens is that even though the situation in this moment might be very different, there is this part of you that is responding and it's reacting as if the old situation is happening again. So let me show you 3 of the parts that you might recognize. And if you want some extra help with this, I've created a Feel Safe to Hold Money practice guide with a really beautiful audio that you can listen to feel safe with money. If you comment safe in the chat below this video, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll share it with you, or send me a message on Instagram if you're listening on the podcast. Send me the word safe and I'll share that with you. So part number 1 is the part that spends. Maybe you've had a difficult day. You might feel restless. You might feel a bit flat, a bit overwhelmed. Maybe you've had a super busy day, and suddenly buying something. Sometimes it can be anything. It doesn't even matter what the thing is. And it just feels like instant relief. And we often refer to this as, being impulsive with money or feeling irresponsible. But remember, a part of you may be reaching for regulation. It's a learned response, and it's learned that the purchase gives you this brief change in how you feel. And it is brief. The part that may feel like it wants to spend may feel like restlessness or, a pull towards your digital device to go and purchase it, or a quick direction to a shop when you're on your lunch break because you're just feeling so overwhelmed and dysregulated. So there's this part of you that's learned that reaching for spending creates relief. It's learned that buying something can briefly change how you feel in that moment. So that's the first part you might recognize. The second is the watchful part. Perhaps you check your bank balance again and again and again, even though you may have just checked it a day or so ago or even an hour ago. And this part can look like really responsible from the outside. I'm being responsible with money. I'm looking at my numbers. But underneath this need for checking, this watchful part, there's often a fear that if you stop watching, something's going to go wrong. And that watchful part can feel like sometimes tightness in the chest. You can feel it in your breathing. It can be shallower breathing, or just like an urge to just go and do it again, go and check it again, just to make sure. So you might recognize that part. And the third part is the part that just looks away. That might be an unopened letter, the banking app that you'll look at tomorrow, the money date that you want to have and you're parking it for another day. Something on your to-do list that gets moved to tomorrow and then the day after and the day after. A conversation with your partner that you just suddenly something needs to be done urgently just to avoid the conversation. And this part isn't lazy. It is very often trying to protect you from deep shame or fear of what will happen if you do. And so the part that looks away can often feel quite heavy in our bodies. It can sometimes feel a bit foggy, a bit cloudy. And that's the kind of response that you might experience or relate to. And sometimes, and there are many parts, these are just 3 parts. Sometimes these parts can pull in completely opposite directions. One part wants the relief of spending, another part wants to hold it on tightly, and another part doesn't want to even look at the numbers at all. And that inner conflict can really feel quite draining and quite exhausting. But it doesn't mean that you're inconsistent or you're failing in any way. It's just simply that there are parts of you that are trying to create safety in different ways. And fighting these parts rarely makes them disappear. It actually normally makes them a little bit louder. And so instead of asking, how do I stop doing this? Start with a different question. Why is this part trying to protect me? Or better still, what is this part trying to do for me? And really sitting in that place of contemplation, that compassion is going to support you to understand that part. You can understand why a part wants to spend or hide or keep checking and still choose a different action. It's the understanding of this part makes choice less of a battle. And understanding that part doesn't mean agreeing with every decision it makes. It gives you space to choose what happens next. So I want to leave you with a practice. Take a few minutes today with a notebook or quietly in your mind And ask yourself 3 questions. And you might even try this in the moment before you buy something or check or look away. Pause and say, a part of me wants to do this right now. And notice what changes when you say a part of me instead of this is who I am. I am bad with money right now, as an example. And practice these 3 questions. Which part of me is here right now? Name it. Notice it. Notice if there's any feeling in the body. Which part of me is here right now? Secondly, what is this part afraid would happen if it stopped? See if you can unearth what it's trying to protect you from. And thirdly, what might help it feel a little safer today? And remember, you don't need to fix the part. There's no broken parts. Just notice it, listen to it, and create a little more space around it. So that one letter, not one fixed identity. You are made up of different parts, different money parts. And the next time money brings up a reaction, try not to ask, what is wrong with me? Ask, what part of me is here and what is it trying to protect? And you don't have to hand that part complete control. You can just listen to it without becoming it. It creates space, and space is really where choice begins. So if this gave you a different way to understand your money patterns, come and join me in the Money Circle. Once a month, we join as a community. It's completely free. And we look at one really thoughtful reflection or practice to help you to build a safer, more compassionate relationship with money. I'll drop the link below this video. And if you're listening on the podcast, you can find this pinned to the top of my Instagram account, or drop me a message and I will send you the details. The link is below and I'll pop it on the screen as well. Actually, it's themoneypanel.co.uk/money-circle. So the next time that money brings up a reaction, come and share it with us in the community. We will help to support you to navigate this. And in your own space, try not to ask, like, what is wrong with me? Ask, which part of me is here? What is it trying to protect? That's going to create space, and space is where change begins. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next Monday.